Alright, so this week we are going to finish up our series on friendship. And remember I was talking about that last week? This week we're going to talk about stepping up for friends, rising up for friends when they need your help, or if you see someone in need, all that kind of jazz. We're finishing that up this week. And I'm going to start this off by asking you guys a question. And I do want you guys to answer this, but we're going to answer orderly and don't blabber out and just yell. Raise your hands, please. Thank you. So, one question I want to ask you guys is, when you guys see either a friend or maybe a stranger, random person, or acquaintance you see at school, just some person you know in your class, when you see someone that is either just sad or just needs some help, what is your usual reaction? Yes? Okay. Okay. Yes.
I ask what's wrong.
Okay.
Stop what I'm doing.
You what?
Stop what I'm doing.
Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes.
It all depends on what place I am. If someone's like sad in a classroom and the teacher's probably gonna notice it unless they're totally brown. But like.
Well, I just mean like outside of class.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I mean.
So like if I see someone and I ask them what's wrong, they mostly like respond to it like online, or they respond to it with a different story.
Interesting. Yes, last one.
If they're sad and they want to be alone, then I give them that time to be alone.
Giving them space to process thoughts. Okay. All right. Okay. So, what I want to talk to you guys about today. Okay, this is one more question, but don't answer this one. After this, like you answered that one, but then this one, just think about it in your mind, and we'll answer this in small groups. But when was the last time you ended up having to sacrifice something for your friend, or you chose to sacrifice something for a friend or a stranger? Whether it be no raising your hand, just think about it. Whether it be like sacrificing your time, or sacrificing something that you might have needed, but they just need more because they're in a worse position than you are. Or just your time and energy to go and talk to them because you know that you can help them, or you know them and you know they're hurting, and you just want to talk to them and make them feel better. Let's think about that throughout this talk. Now, I'm going to tell a quick story. This talk's going to be a tad bit more serious, but not too bad. So, story from my life. So last week, my best friend got in a car accident and totaled his car. He's fine. Before I continue, my friend is fine. Totally fine. His car is not, but he is fine. So, my friend got in a car accident last week and totaled his car, and now he doesn't have a car anymore. And that's unfortunate for him. And when I heard about this, he texted me like a little bit after it happened. He was still there when it happened. And that night, he was going home from work, and later after that, he was supposed to go to church for a youth group thing for college, because him and I are both in college. And I was in Avondale at the time, and if you don't know where that is way down that way. That is like all the way across the nation. No, it's not across the nation, but a while away. I mean, it's far away. Anyways, so I was down there, and then he texted me and asked me if I can take him to church that night because he didn't have a ride, and he needed that kind of step up from his night. After a car accident like that, totaling his car, he needed that kind of motivation and then someone to speak to him and someone to talk to. He didn't have anyone to do it, and I went from Avondale back to his house, which is right next here to church, and then I went to Scottsdale to drop him off, came back here, and then went back to pick him up, and then, yeah, all that jazz. So that's just an example of me going and spending my time and energy, because I could have literally just said no. I could have just said, dude, I'm busy, I'm sorry. And technically I was, but I dropped what I was doing in the moment because I was picking up a pool with my dad, because we have an outdoor, or above ground pool now, which is awesome. But I dropped what I was doing immediately, and I drove back to church, to Josh's house, grabbed him, took him to Scottsdale, came back. Now, real quick, there's a verse I want to read to you guys. Daniel, if you have this verse, I don't know if you do. Do we? You don't? Okay, never mind. I'll just read it for you guys, and you can listen along and think about it. This is from James 2, 14 through 17. What good is it, dear brothers and sisters, if you say you have faith, but don't show it in your actions? Can Can that kind of faith save anyone? Suppose you see a brother or sister who has no food or clothing, and you say, "Goodbye and have a good day. Stay warm and eat well." But then you don't give that person any food or clothing. What good does that do? So you see, faith by itself isn't enough. Unless it produces good deeds, it is dead and useless. So, from that one is mainly talking about faith, and it talks a little bit about your friendship too. And I like to use that because this connects so well to your faith. Because like friendships, our faith, we're meant to continuously be growing in it. We're meant to pursue God and constantly grow, because if you don't grow, you hit a rough spot and then you're just not going anywhere, and things start to get rough. They don't seem right. Like in a friendship, you should be growing with your friend. You should be changing. You should be coming closer with each other so that you can get past any sort of obstacle you go through. And if you don't, then that friendship ultimately isn't going anywhere. And that's kind of sometimes like you can just kill a friendship off. So what good is a friendship if you don't put the effort, time, and energy to go and help that person? Oh my gosh, there's a stool behind me. If you don't go out of your way to go help that kind of person, if they just need to be talked to, or if they actually need something from you, you need to be able to be on the lookout and have that kind of urgency and that kind of reaction to this, notice that kind of thing, and then just say, oh, I can help them, I know this person, or I can deal with this. Or maybe you don't have that kind of experience, but it's okay. All you need to do is just ask, hey, are you okay? And just let them know that you care. Because it's as simple as that, guys. You don't need to do anything. I know you're 5th and 6th graders. I know that you guys don't have like jobs or cars. You can't drive out to like Scottsdale or anything like that. But you can just notice someone that is in that kind of need, and you can go out and help them. And one example from the Bible, I mean, this is the perfect example, and it's one of the most known examples. Oh my gosh, Tanner is blindfolded. Okay. But the most perfect example in the Bible is Jesus on the cross. That was the ultimate sacrifice. And Jesus is the ultimate example of friendship. He sacrificed his own living body for us so that we could live the perfect life, so that we could be forgiven, so that we know that he loved us that much that he literally sacrificed himself to save us all. Literally everyone. And that's a perfect example. And if Jesus can do something like that, because Jesus, keep in mind, Jesus was human. He was 100% God and 100% human, which is kind of confusing to think about, but there is that. But Jesus was human. And if Jesus is going to do something like that, that's an example for you to follow. And as humans, we are supposed to strive to be more like Jesus and look up to that kind of example. And that kind of example he's trying to show us is that we need to go and step up and notice when people are hurting, so that they need to know that we are there for them, that they're not alone. Because when they feel that they're alone, they get into a dark place. We are meant as a church to grow with each other, to grow side by side. Because the church isn't about the place that you worship. I said this before. It's not about the place that you worship. It's about the people that you worship with. And right now, this is your people you worship with. In this room. You can go outside. It can be like outside a church. Find that kind of person. Be on the lookout for that kind of person. And I have one more question for you guys. And it's kind of a challenge too. Challenge/question. Going from here, how can you guys take that kind of step to go and help that kind of person and be there for that person that needs that kind of help? I don't know if you weren't doing that before. If you were, then great. But what kind of things can you either do differently, or what kind of things can you do just to step up more and be there for that kind of person that needs that from you? Because that kind of thing is important. That example that Jesus showed in the cross, again, I'm saying it again, that was the perfect example. Living from that example, because that, not only was that example supposed to be from, it wasn't just an example of him saving us. It was the ultimate act of him saving us, and it was also him showing us that he is our friend. And he wants to show you that you guys can also be that kind of friend that steps up to save other people, even though we don't really always deserve it. They can be that kind of person that, I don't know, might have made you mad at some point in your life. It could be a brother, just irritates the heck out of you all the time. But even though they might not deserve it, they might not even know you, and they might look at you and think you're weird for asking, but they know you care because you stepped up and you went up and asked them, hey, are you okay? Let me be there for you. Or do you need space? Can I do something for you? Do you want to go play pool? Do you want to go play carpet ball? Or just talk to them about anything, literally anything. That's my challenge for you guys this week. Begin that kind of lookout. Let's pray, y'all. Dear Jesus, thank you for today. Thank you for these students. I pray as they leave tonight that they find new ways to seek out other people that might need their help, that they can step up and be the kind of person that others know that they are there to help, that they can be someone that they can count on when they are in a dark place. They can follow your example when you died on the cross for us, that they can be the kind of person that stands up for other people. They can be the person that, even though they don't deserve it, even if they don't deserve it, that they are still there for them. And they can show that you are also there for them. Thank you, God, for these students. Thank you for this awesome night and the fact that there's a bunch of powder on the floor. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.